Hey guys, it's Out of Loose Pixel. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, then you're well aware of the fact that I tend to take a much more psychological and emotional approach to my art talks, the videos you're listening to right now. And there's a very important reason why. Throughout my 2+ decade career as a concept artist, illustrator, director, and teacher, I have noticed in myself and in the thousands of artists that I've worked with, taught, and directed, that it's this that's the biggest obstacle. Not drawing. There are many amazing schools out there, my own included, that teach technicalities of art in no matter which domain you want, and some of the most industry-leading and fantastic teachers you could ever ask for are all at arm's reach, which is very, very fortunate for artists today. But there's something between you thinking and drawing that gets in the way, and that's this. It's how you approach your work on a more emotional and psychological level. If these challenges are outside of yourself, like family pressures or toxic relationships, I highly recommend you check out this video that I just posted last week, where I delve into a very, very personal story of my challenges and how what I've learned can help teach you what you can do to overcome these fears of failure and whether or not you need to get professional help to overcome these things. It's a very, very healthy, balanced, and in my opinion, extremely valuable thing to listen to. Not to glaze myself, just speaking from somebody with experience. But today, I want to take all of that, push it aside, and I want to focus just on you. And I want you to start asking yourself objectively, openly, and honestly, what is my relationship with failure? How do I react when things don't go my way? How do I react when I want something I can't get? Like a carrot at the end of the stick, and no matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to get my art to look the way I want it to look. Speaking of Souls games, it was actually during a live stream, my live stream playing Dark Souls 3 yesterday, when I went up against Yorm the Giant and Pontiff Sullivan, two very challenging fights, that I realized what I wanted to talk about today. Because it wasn't only my experiences that I was sharing, playing the game and overcoming these challenges, but it was also how my audience responded to it. When they saw me doing things over and over and over again, that made me go, this is a very healthy environment and I want to shine a spotlight on it. And take what we experienced yesterday during the live stream, which you're more than welcome to join, and put them in the context of you and your art career. When I first started streaming live games, because I'm not a professional gamer, I'm just a passionate gamer as far as that goes, and since I was playing a very, very challenging series of games, Souls games, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Dark Souls 2 and 3, etc., that at the beginning when I was first playing, understanding that these games are challenging and very frustrating, I was very concerned about not performing particularly well, not progressing enough. So it kind of put me into this headspace where I felt I needed to behave professional. I needed to make a lot of progress, not to die to the same thing all the time. And there was kind of a low-key subconscious embarrassment when I would die to the same thing over and over again. But being a Souls game and having a sense of obligation to my audience, I didn't just give up the way I might when I'm alone, where I just go, screw this game, and I turn it off, because then I felt I would be doing my audience a disservice. People who are joining along and go, oh, okay, he quits every time it gets hard. So I toughed it out, and I toughed it out, and I toughed it out. And eventually, over time, after enough attempts, I overcame those obstacles, and I completed one game after another. Confided, it's not my first time playing these games. I've played these games multiple times, but I had to overcome myself during that process. Fast forward to my most recent live stream. Something actually clicked for me after playing all these games, when going up against Pontiff Sullivan, and then experimenting with different builds, going up against trash mobs and all that kind of stuff. I forgot that there was an audience watching me. And I started playing the way I normally play when I'm alone, meaning I'm very experimental. I'm very trial and error. I die again. I try this weapon, I try that weapon, I try this strategy, I try that strategy. I study my enemy, their fighting patterns, their rhythm, their style, where they get aggroed, etc., etc. And I was just in a very relaxed fashion, just churning my way slowly through one mob after the next, without any fear of dying. And I was dying over and over and over again, trying out these different things. And much like it was when I play alone, there's no guilt associated with it. There's no fear. I play at my own pace. I take my time. I look up strategy guides when I feel completely stuck. I just took my time. And I realized that my audience wasn't getting bored and frustrated with me. They were enjoying it. They were enjoying seeing me act like a gamer. And because I wasn't trying to pretend to be elite, all of a sudden, people were relating more to my experiences. They were being much more encouraging to my experiences. I actually connected more with everybody by not trying to look like I know what I'm doing. Instead, just go through the process the way all of us go through that process. And it was a wonderful experience, and it made me realize I've been putting way too much pressure on myself to perform. Now, that's Souls games. I'm not a professional gamer. I'm not Fighting Cowboy or Fextra Life. I don't do this for a career. But I made a very professional realization in the art of playing this game. And in my art career, as somebody who's been doing this for 2.5 decades professionally, I overcame that obstacle a long, long time ago, but I forgot about it. I have absolutely no issue whatsoever trying something 50 times because I've learned that I'm an explorer. I love to try this, try that, add this thing, delete it, try that, delete it. I'm learning, I'm expanding my brain, I'm churning through this process. I'm learning how to refine and push and observe and become a better version of myself by doing it over and over and over and over again. You might see me pull off some successful painting in my time-lapse videos for my Painter's Hollow videos. But what you didn't see is that I've probably painted around, I don't know, maybe I've done 8 or 9 pages of silhouettes. Maybe I've tried 3 or 4 different attempts of that painting. I did thumbnails of it. I tried all these different things. That's the equivalent of me dying to the same mob over and over and over again. Psychologically, I'm completely accustomed to that. In fact, I enjoy that process. And because I no longer have that fear, I abandoned the fear of what people might think of me. I'm allowed to make these mistakes with confidence and comfort because I've learned that those mistakes are what professionals do. Watch any artist you look up to. Look at Bobby Rebholz, look at Tyler Edlin, look at Ahmed Al-Duri, look at Steve Zapata, look at Istabrak. One of the things they have in abundance is an absolute lack of fear of what people think. Happy accidents, just go, 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 go. And they know if they're thumbnailing, if they're doing silhouettes or something like that, they'll do 15 before they land on one that goes, ooh, I like that. And think of what they've learned in the process of sharing the process. Think about how much we value them and how much we relate to them for going through that process. Are you doing this for yourself? Or do you crap on yourself and feel frustrated every single time you sit down to draw something and it doesn't work? Do you get exhausted and overwhelmed when you feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to pull this off? Because you have this vision in your mind of what you want, but what you're looking at on the page, just whatever you have in your imagination completely doesn't translate onto the page and you feel so frustrated with it. Treat it as if nobody's watching. Treat it as if you're playing a video game and while nobody's looking, you go online and you look up a strategy guide on how to overcome that boss. What are tricks? How can I do that more efficiently? Where do I position myself, etc., etc. I'm using exact video game analogies for your art. When I get stuck with something, if I'm really struggling with my shading, maybe I'm trying to pencil sketch for the first time in a long, long time and I feel rusty as hell, I'll go and watch some of Bobby's or Steve's videos. Maybe I really feel rusty in my compositional design and coming up with a more dynamic overall presentation. I'm going to go and check out Tyler's video. How do I feel about learning from somebody else? How do I feel about reaching out for help? As an artist, I am absolutely comfortable with it. In fact, I expect any professional to do the same. But It takes a professional to be able to truly admit it publicly, to wear their flaws on their sleeve. And it's not until you're capable of doing that that you're really honestly capable of overcoming these obstacles and growing. And if you're just focused on that growth, focused on self-analysis, of self-awareness, then you can find growth and satisfaction anywhere. Secondly, once you've embraced this reality of the process, once you no longer feel like every single failure is a testament to your incompetence, it's just a part of the professional process. Once you do that, real growth starts to happen in the form that what used to take you many, many attempts to succeed at takes you fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer attempts. Yesterday, shortly after I'd started my live stream, somebody had jumped in about maybe 15 minutes after I started the stream and said, "Oh my God, you already killed the pontiff." And I said, yeah, it took me around 3-4 attempts. And to which the person watching, I can't remember who made the comment, said, "Jesus, it took me over 20 times." Complimenting me for how good I played. To which I replied, yeah, it took me 20 times the first time I did it too. The second time, it took me 17. Third time, it took me 15. Fourth time, it took me 10. Fifth time, it took me 7, then 5, and then finally 3. It took me many, many, many times. And I remember that for those first attempts when I first started playing Dark Souls 3, every single boss, every single mob kicked my ass over and over and over again. And the greatest skill I learned throughout my playthrough of all Souls games was the most important thing you can ever learn is patience. Patience. Just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and those unsurmountable obstacles all of a sudden become surmountable. You overcome things you never even thought in a million years you could. You had the patience to try and slowly work your way through this puzzle until the last piece of the puzzle fell into place. That boss dies, you get your victory, and you move forward. The same thing applies to art. When I first started drawing, in order for me to wrap my brain around a certain completely incomprehensible obstacle like drawing realistic perspective or value structure or understanding how to properly capture light and value, and then shape design, and then creature design, and then getting into the psychology of creatures, and then visual language, and how do I communicate something very, very precise through the use of composition, and the psychology of set design, and all of this myriad of different things. Every single one of them was a new boss I had to tackle that at the beginning took me dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and I had to go up and look up strategy guides, art books, art tutorials, whatever information I could gather to get me across the finish line, to overcome that boss, that obstacle, that artistic fundamental. As I got better at that, as years have passed, it still takes me multiple attempts to pull something off, but it takes fewer and fewer and fewer attempts because I've learned how to objectify my struggles more and more and more. I just see them as objective things, tactical things that I need to overcome. I overcome them efficiently and I move forward with it. But every single work of art is a boss I haven't faced before. They just get a little bit harder each time. If you can develop the resilience to do things multiple times, then you, my friend, can overcome any obstacle in the world artistically. You can get as good as you've dreamed of as long as you have the patience to do that. Last but not least, learn to abandon your dream goal. When I first started playing Souls games, because I'm a human born in a punishment and reward world, when I die the first time, I would lose all the souls currency in my inventory. That's the punishment. But then, to add insult to injury, if you die a second time without retrieving your souls, they're gone forever. So that carrot at the end of the stick, those souls, that currency that you could put towards buying things or leveling up, the first time you lose it, it puts you into a state of anxiety, a state of panic. And as you try to progress moving forward, as you try to get back to that spot and fight all of these mobs to get to that spot, to get that currency back, to get that reward back, your performance takes a big hit because you're so focused on getting to that point that you aren't focusing on the obstacle right in front of your face. Furthermore, if you do die a second time, which is very likely in a Souls game, then you feel utterly defeated. You had 150,000 souls and you lost them all. That took me an hour to accumulate all that progress. But are those souls the true goal? No, the souls are a distraction. Your currency, the money, the bling, the fame, whatever it is that you adhere to, that illusion of grandeur that you've got in your head is nothing but an illusion. And the minute you abandon that and say, you know what, I don't care about souls anymore. Literally. And when I'm playing Souls games, you'll watch me die over again. I've lost thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of souls live in my live streams. Go and watch it. You never hear me say, oh, that money's gone. Shit. No, I go, oh, well, there you go. I've learned to not care about that. Because I abandoned that money, that fame, that reputation, that accolade, whatever, because I abandoned the carrot on the end of the stick, all of my priorities shifted back towards getting good. It shifted back towards the moment and overcoming that immediate obstacle. Furthermore, my longevity, my stamina, my endurance to overcome adversity, my stamina to overcome the challenge of dying again, of losing again, did not sap me of my energy. It didn't sap me of my drive to continue. Because I wasn't focused on a material good, and I was just focused on the moment and making those little baby steps forward, I wasn't burning through millions of calories feeling shameful, frustrated, or angry, because that was the only thing making me feel that way. And the same thing applies to your art. If you're thinking about the salary, if you're thinking about the dream job, if you're thinking about the fame, if you're thinking about the likes, that is a superficial currency, hijacking your energy, hijacking your focus. And if you post an image on Instagram, if you post an image on Twitter, if you make a video and you post it on YouTube, and then you go and you sit by and you start watching to see how many likes, how many follows accumulate, and it's not what you hoped it would be, or it's nothing, or if some people liked it, or you look at your subscribers and your subscribers don't go up, they go down. Oh, fuck. Then you go into this, you get depressed, you get frustrated, you start feeling like, why the hell am I bothering? And the weight of that failure will very much turn you off from wanting to draw a second time, won't it? It's going to be much harder for you to get up and draw again if you feel like, why fucking bother when nobody pays attention to my stuff anyways? Nobody cares. Okay? What you're essentially doing is saying, why bother playing Souls games if I keep losing my souls? But that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is to overcome obstacles. The point of the game is to make slow progress. The point of the game is to one day beat the final boss. Remember something very important. Dark Souls is a video game. Your art and your art career isn't a game. It's your life. Furthermore, it's an extension of yourself, meaning there is no final boss. You are going to have the pleasure of facing more and more and more challenging and rewarding obstacles until your dying breath, unless you choose to stop playing the game. You are going to continue to be more and more rewarded by everything that you create every day that you stick to it. Just abandon the carrot at the end of the stick and just enjoy that obstacle right in front of your face. Don't worry about what people are thinking. Worry about how you feel. And do your best to cultivate a very healthy relationship with falling on your ass and getting back up again. And you have my word, you will be able to achieve anything in life. Sound good? With that said, I love you all with all my heart, and happy painting. Take care.